Italy's foreign minister condemns a rocket attack on UNIFIL base in Lebanon that injured 4 Italian soldiers. The French and British foreign ministers warn of the risks of the Putinization of the world ahead of talks in London. Romanian citizens living overseas begin casting their ballots ahead of Sunday's presidential election. Italy's foreign minister has condemned an attack on a UNIFIL base in Lebanon after it was hit by rockets allegedly fired by the militant group Hezbollah or its affiliates. 4 Italian soldiers were injured when 2 rockets hit the mission base in Sharma. Antonio Tajani said the strikes were unacceptable and advised groups like Hezbollah not to play with weapons they don't know how to operate. UNIFIL is the UN peacekeeping mission to southern Lebanon and has operated in the country since 1978. It consists of more than 10,000 peacekeepers from 48 countries. Lebanon-based Hezbollah began firing into Israel the day after the war in Gaza started, with both sides exchanging almost daily cross-border fire. That's displaced tens of thousands on both sides of the border. Israel launched a ground offensive into Lebanon in October with up to 15,000 Israeli troops believed to be in the country. France's Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot has met his British counterpart David Lammy in London against a backdrop of what Lammy called tough geopolitical times. An article written by the two foreign ministers and published in both the UK's I newspaper and France's Le Figaro gave some indication of the topics they were expected to cover in Friday's talks. They warned of the consequences of what they called the attempted Putinization of the world as the war in Ukraine spreads beyond Europe. They criticised Putin's illegal and intolerable invasion of Ukraine and accused the Russian leader of attempting to rewrite the international order. Both France and the UK have been staunch supporters of Ukraine since Russia's 2022 invasion, providing billions of euros in both military and humanitarian assistance to Kyiv. Lammy and Barrot also repeated their condemnation of the 7th of October Hamas incursion into Israel last year, which sparked the war in Gaza. Romanians living overseas have begun casting their ballots ahead of Sunday's presidential election. 147 polling stations have been set up at locations across Spain, which opened at noon on Friday. Meanwhile, 67 polling stations will be open across France, including one in Monaco. The Permanent Electoral Authority said there would be a record number of polling stations abroad for the presidential election, totaling more than 950. Sunday's election has 13 candidates vying for the presidency and is widely expected to go to a December runoff. Leading in the polls is Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu, who's backed by Romania's largest party, the Social Democratic Party. But far-right nationalist George Simeon is also in with a chance of winning. Recently, he praised Donald Trump and denied allegations that he's a Russian spy.
Austria lifts its veto, allowing Romania and Bulgaria to join the European Schengen Free Movement area. The agreement was signed in Budapest between the 3 countries and will be formalized at the next Home Affairs Council in Brussels in December. European Commissioner for Home Affairs Ylva Johansson explained from Hungary.
This is a great day to achieve the full freedom for all the citizens of Bulgaria and Romania into the Schengen area, and I'm very happy today.
Johansson expects it to be operational by January 2025. The European Commission recommended back in 2011 that both Romania and Bulgaria should be allowed access to Schengen. But final decision depended on the EU countries that vetoed their entry for years. Free movement by air and sea was finally allowed a year ago and came into force last March. Austria, however, continued to block land movement. And in a few weeks, free movement for Romanians and Bulgarians will finally become a reality.